So let's talk about when Jesus calms the storms with his disciples in a boat. First, I just want to say there are 3 out of the 4 gospels that speak on this. And that's Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So the one in Mark is the one I want to break down. One moment. All right. Mark 4:35. That day, when evening came, he said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Leaving the crowd behind, they took him along. Just as he was in the boat, there were also other boats with him. A furious squall came up and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. Jesus was in the stern, sleeping on a cushion. The disciples woke him and said to him, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." So I'm going to break this verse down. He said to his disciples, "Let us go over to the other side." Sometimes we can't stay on the side with the crowd. We got to go over to a whole nother side with Jesus. Sometimes we got to separate ourselves from the crowd. Then it said, leaving the crowd behind, they took him along. When you leave a crowd, just make sure you got Jesus with you. And I want to point out when they said there were also other boats with him. A furious swell came up and the waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. So first, let's look at the definition of squall. A sudden violent gust of wind or a localized storm, especially one bringing rain, snow, or sleet. Then we're going to look at the definition of swamp. Overwhelmed or flood with water. I just wanted to point out the fact that the squall, the storm, it attacked the boat that Jesus was in. Not the other boats, but the boat that Jesus was in. When the devil knows that you riding with Jesus, he wants to attack you. He mad because you got God on your side. And it said a furious squall, which means it was quick. It was a quick attack. You didn't even see it coming. That's how quick it was. And another thing I want to point out is where it says it was nearly swamped. And if you remember, the definition of swamped is overwhelmed. Sometimes we're nearly overwhelmed and God come in right on time. He comes in when things almost get us overwhelmed. We almost get overwhelmed with stress. We almost get overwhelmed. But he comes in and he calms the storm. He calms the storm that we're dealing with. This really spoke out to me when it said Jesus was in the stern, okay? And the stern is the steering. Jesus was steering the boat. He may have been looking like he was asleep. It may feel like he ain't there for you. It may feel like he ain't paying attention, but he was in the stern, okay? Where the boat, navigating their way through the storm, navigating their way through. But they didn't have that faith. They was too scared. They was still scared. And he's saying all the wonders, all the things that you saw me already do, and you still questioning me? You're still questioning the power that God gave me? Then I want to bring you to this verse where it says he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." We got to learn to let God take the wheel. Let God be the head. Let God guide us. Let God steer us into the right direction. And even if we steered into a storm, he got us. He covering us. He protecting us. I just want to say, when you in that storm, when you feel like you're finna be overwhelmed, just remember how God got you through the last storm you thought you was going to be taken out of. Remember the blessings that he gave you. Remember how he graced you with that presence. How he showed mercy upon you before with all the other things. How he got you out of that storm. Remember, God got you. Continue to have God with you. Don't allow the devil to talk into your ear and make you feel like God has slept on you. God is sleeping on you. God ain't with you. God ain't gonna protect you. God ain't got you. Because it's not true. God got us. He's covering us. So regardless of what storm you going through, remember, God will always pull you through and get you through. Just like they got to the other side safely. Y'all be blessed because God is steering our life.